Most gardeners have seen the same 10 ideas recycled in 100 different ways. The raised bed, the tiered planter, the pallet herb wall. Good ideas, every one of them. But not new, not surprising. Not the kind of idea that makes you put down what you are doing and go straight outside. Today is different. 22 garden ideas you have genuinely never seen before. All DIY, all easy. All achievable this weekend for almost nothing. Stay to idea 22. It is the one that changes how you make every garden decision after this. Let's start. Welcome back to Daily Garden Fix, where the garden you keep planning becomes the garden you are actually building. Before idea 1, drop a comment right now and tell me the one spot in your garden you have been walking past and ignoring the longest. The corner, the blank fence, the bare patch that keeps waiting. Tell me what it is. I read every comment on this channel, and I will reply with a specific idea for that exact spot. Idea 1, buried bottle irrigation. Idea number 1. Experienced growers consistently say, this is the one they wish someone had shown them sooner. Take a large plastic bottle, cut the base off cleanly, push it neck down into the soil beside any deep-rooted plant, tomatoes, dahlia, courgettes, until only the open base sits above soil level. Fill with water through the open base. It releases slowly and directly into the root zone. Not onto the surface where it evaporates, but exactly where the roots are searching for moisture. Deep, consistent root watering reduces your watering frequency by half and produces stronger, more drought-resistant plants. The bottle disappears once surrounding growth covers it. One detail that makes it work. Push the neck deep enough that the shoulder sits below soil level. If the shoulder is exposed, the water runs out around the outside rather than through the neck. That is the whole technique right there. Budget, zero. Idea 2, painted. Stepping stones, idea number 2. The pathway idea that makes people slow down and actually look at where they are walking. Plain concrete stepping stones, $1 to $2 each at any garden center, painted with exterior masonry paint in a deliberate botanical pattern. One image per stone, a fern frond, a leaf silhouette, a simple flower outline, one contrasting color on a clean base. Seal each finished stone with 2 coats of clear exterior varnish before laying. That seal is what keeps the image legible through multiple wet winters rather than fading after the first one. Lay them through a lawn or planted border. The path becomes a gallery. Small paintings set into the ground, revealing themselves one at a time as you walk. Budget under $20 for a full garden path. Idea 3, glass bottle cloches, idea number 3. Borrowed directly from 19th century French kitchen gardens, and still one of the most beautiful functional features achievable at any price. Collect glass bottles of consistent height. Remove the base of each using the score and separate technique. Run a glass scorer firmly around the circumference at the base. Then alternate hot and cold water against the score line. The thermal shock separates the glass cleanly within 2 to 3 cycles. Place each bottomless bottle neck down over a seedling. It traps warmth and humidity, protects against late frost and pests, and accelerates establishment, exactly as a purpose-made glass cloche does. A row of glass bottle cloches over a freshly planted seedling row catches light from every angle throughout the day. Beautiful and functional simultaneously. Budget, zero. Idea 4, newspaper seed pots, idea number 4. The propagation technique that eliminates transplant shock entirely. Fold a double sheet of newspaper around a glass or tin can. Fold the base closed, slide it off. Fill with seed compost. So 1 seed per pot. Water from below by placing pots in a tray. When seedlings are ready, plant the entire pot directly into the ground. The newspaper decomposes in 2 to 3 weeks. The roots grow straight through it without any disturbance. The plant never knows it was moved. This matters most for plants that resent root disturbance. Sweet peas, courgettes, beans, these are the plants most commonly lost at the transplanting stage. This technique removes that failure point entirely. Budget, zero. Idea 5, the gabion planter, idea number 5. The structural feature that looks designed by an architect and costs under $30 to build. Purchase galvanized wire mesh from a hardware store. Bend it into a rectangular box form. Fix the corners with cable ties. Fill the outer walls with stone, river pebbles, reclaimed brick, flint, whatever is available locally. Fill the center with compost. Plant through the open top. The stone walls give the structure immediate visual weight and permanence. Moss colonizes the surface over time. The quality improves every season it stands. For stone, ask at local demolition sites. Check community groups online. Reclaimed stone costs nothing and looks far better than anything purchased new. Budget, $15 to $30 for mesh. Stone sourced free. Idea 6, teepee bean frame as garden sculpture. Idea number 6, the vegetable structure most gardeners build purely for function and therefore make half as beautiful as it could be. 8 bamboo canes pushed into the ground in a 60-centimeter circle, gathered at the top and tied firmly with jute twine. The structure alone has architectural presence before a single seed is planted. Plant sweet peas around the base, one per cane. By midsummer, the frame disappears beneath a column of fragrant, cut-and-come-again flowers from early summer to first frost. The more you cut from it, the more it produces. Make 2 or 3. Repeated forms create rhythm. Rhythm is what separates a planted space from a designed one. Budget, $2 to $5 per frame. 6 ideas in, 16 more to go. Coming up, Idea 11 is the professional lighting technique used on high-budget estate gardens that almost no home gardener has ever tried. And Idea 17 uses a material so unexpected that every gardener who hears it tries it that same afternoon. Stay with me. Idea 7, the self-watering wicking bed. Idea number 7, the container system that keeps plants watered through the hottest weeks of summer without a daily routine. Place a smaller container inside a larger one. The space between them becomes a water reservoir. A cotton rope wick runs from the reservoir through a hole in the inner container base upward into the compost, drawing water continuously by capillary action in the exact amount the plant needs. Fill the reservoir through a vertical pipe inserted to the base. One fill lasts 4 to 7 days. In a heat wave, when daily watering becomes critical, a wicking bed keeps growing without any intervention. One afternoon to build, hours of watering saved across the entire season. Budget under $20. Idea 8, reclaimed chimney pot planters. Idea number 8, the container that arrives already aged, already characterful, already beautiful before a single plant goes in. Old chimney pots from demolition sites, reclamation yards, or second-hand marketplaces for $5 to $20. Line with a punctured plastic bag. Fill with compost. Plant tall and trailing simultaneously. A cascading fuchsia, a trailing pelargonium, a long-stemmed dahlia. The height puts planting at eye level, encountered up close rather than glanced at from across the garden. That proximity is what makes chimney pot planting feel different from any other container arrangement. A pair flanking a back door costs under $30 total and looks like features salvaged from an estate. Budget, $5 to $20 each. Idea 9, the stumpery. Idea number 9, the Victorian garden feature that turns felled tree stumps into something extraordinary. Source old stumps from tree surgeons. They pay for disposal and will often deliver free. Arrange them in a shaded corner, root side upward, so the twisted root forms create natural cavities. Plant into every crevice, ferns, hostas at the base, cyclamen under the outer edges. Encourage moss onto the bark surface with the buttermilk technique. Within one season, this corner looks like a forest floor transported into the garden. Ancient, textured, and alive in every dimension. Budget, $0 to $20 for the stumps. Idea 10, the mirror pool. Idea number 10, the water feature that needs no pump, no electricity, and no maintenance, and produces a reflection so clean people stop and look twice. A wide, flat, dark container, a black drip saucer, a low-sided tray painted matte black inside, filled with still water to within half an inch of the rim. The dark base absorbs light. The water surface becomes a perfect mirror. Position it to reflect something worth reflecting. A beautiful plant, an arch, the sky. Float 3 or 4 fresh flower heads from the garden on the surface. The reflection of the sky broken by color above and below simultaneously. Budget, $0 to $15. Idea 11, moonlighting through tree canopy. Idea number 11, the professional technique I promised. In high-budget garden lighting design, moonlighting positions a light source high in a tree canopy, angled downward through the branches to cast a dappled, moving pattern of light and shadow onto the ground below, replicating moonlight filtered through leaves. The result at night is unlike any other lighting effect. The leaf shadows move with every breath of wind. The pattern shifts continuously. It does not look like a spotlight. It looks like the moon came out from behind a cloud and stayed. Take a solar-powered LED floodlight. $10 to $15 from any hardware store. Mount it high in a tree. Angle it downward through the canopy. Position the solar panel where it receives full daylight. The ground beneath the tree becomes something entirely different every evening from that point forward. Budget, $10 to $15. Idea 12, the woven willow border edge. Idea number 12, the border edging that costs almost nothing and looks better every year. Fresh-cut willow rods woven between upright stakes, pushed into the ground along the border edge. Over one stake under the next, alternating each rod in the opposite direction to the one before. The rods lock together as layers build without fasteners or adhesive. Use fresh green willow, not dried. Fresh willow is living. The ends pushed into moist soil will root themselves. The woven rods will bud and leaf in spring. The entire edge structure is alive within one growing season. It looks handmade. It looks ancient. It improves every spring it is left to grow. Budget $0 to $15. Idea 13. Inverted terracotta pot tower lamp. Idea number 13. The most unexpected use of the most ordinary material in gardening. Stack 3 or 4 terracotta pots of decreasing size, all inverted so every base faces upward. Thread waterproof outdoor fairy lights through the drainage hole of each pot as you stack them. A warm LED cluster emerges from the top of the smallest pot at the summit. Light escapes outward through the gaps between the stacked rims and horizontal rings at each level. The way candlelight escapes through the slats of a lantern. At night, the warm light catches the terracotta texture and throws its color onto the surrounding ground. People reach it for their phones every time they see it. Budget, $8 to $20. 14, the seed library jar display. Idea number 14, the organization idea that is also one of the most beautiful things in any potting shed. Glass jars of varying heights, jam jars, Kilner jars, spice jars, one seed variety per jar. A small labeled card tied around the neck with jute twine, naming the variety and the sowing month. Arranged on a shelf by plant family or sowing season. Seeds stored in sealed glass last significantly longer than seeds left in paper packets. The library is genuinely useful, but it is the display that earns its place here. A shelf of seed jars communicates that growing is taken seriously, that the materials of gardening are valued for their own quality. Budget, $0 for collected jars. $5 to $10 for twine and card. Teaser, $8.59.5. 14 down, 8 more to go. Coming up, Idea 17, the material I keep mentioning. And Idea 21, which requires no digging, no building, no planting, and no budget at all, and changes how you experience the garden you already have. The final 8 are the best ones. Idea 15, the sunflower house. Idea number 15, the garden idea that exists for children, but that every adult who builds it finds themselves reluctant to take down. Mark a rectangle on the ground, 1 meter by 1.5 meters. Sow giant sunflower seeds along 3 sides at 10-centimeter intervals, leaving one short side open as the entrance. Water in once, leave them. Giant sunflowers reach 3 to 4 meters in a single season. By midsummer, 3 sides of your rectangle are a wall of stems and leaves 2 to 3 meters high. The flower heads lean inward, forming a living ceiling of yellow and green with open sky between them. Inside, a private, golden, entirely living room, warm earth and pollen and the continuous movement of bees. Cost, 1 packet of giant sunflower seed, approximately $2. Idea 16, the Espalier apple on a wire frame. Idea number 16. The productive and ornamental technique most gardeners believe requires expert skill. And that is in practice one of the most forgiving things you can grow against a fence. 3 horizontal wires fixed to a fence at knee, waist, and chest height. 1 young maiden apple tree planted in front of them. Each winter cut the central stem back to just above the next wire. 2 side shoots grow outward. Tie them horizontally along the wire. Repeat the following year for the next tier. The tree builds 1 horizontal tier per year, growing flat against the fence, 4 to 6 inches deep, covering a full fence panel. In spring, every horizontal branch carries blossom along its full length. In autumn, the same branches carry fruit. Ornamental and productive simultaneously. Plant it this season. The 5 years from now version of you will consider it the best decision you made this year. Budget $20 to $30. Idea 17, biochar from garden waste. Idea number 17, the one I have been building toward. Biochar is charcoal made from woody garden waste, prunings, old canes, dried stems, burned at high temperature in a low oxygen environment. It is one of the most powerful soil amendments available, and it costs absolutely nothing to make. Dig a shallow pit. Fill it with dry woody waste. Light it and allow it to burn down to glowing embers with no visible flame. At that precise point, pour just enough water over the embers to stop combustion. Not to drench them, just to stop them. The result is biochar. Crush it to small fragments. Mix 1 part biochar to 5 parts compost. Apply to beds or work into planting holes. What it does to soil is significant. It retains moisture and nutrients that would otherwise leach away. It creates habitat for beneficial soil microorganisms. And unlike compost, it does not break down. It remains active in the soil for hundreds of years. Every gardener who tries it notices the same thing within 4 to 6 weeks. Plants growing in Biochar amended soil are visibly different, darker green, stronger stems, more vigorous at every stage. Budget 0, made from what the garden already produces. Idea 18, clay pot ollas irrigation idea number 18. An irrigation technique 4,000 years old, still used from North Africa to China, built for under $8. Take 2 identical small unglazed terracotta pots, seal the drainage hole of one with waterproof exterior sealant, press the sealed base against the base of the second pot. Seal around the join, allow to cure. Bury the joined double pot in the soil beside the plant it will serve, leaving only the top neck exposed. Fill through the neck. The unglazed clay is porous. Water seeps continuously through the walls, directly into the surrounding root zone, slowing automatically when the soil reaches adequate moisture. Refill every 3 to 5 days. Root growth concentrates around the buried pot, producing stronger and more productive plants in the same bed space. 4,000 years old because it works. Budget, $4 to $8. Idea 19, the floating garden shelf, idea number 19. The vertical garden idea that works in the smallest outdoor space and makes every plant on it look deliberately arranged. A single exterior timber plank, oiled in a warm walnut tone, fixed to a fence at chest height on 2 concealed shelf brackets. One horizontal line crossing the vertical plane of the fence. That single interruption organizes everything around it. It is what picture rails do in an interior, what the horizon does in a landscape painting. On the shelf, one consistent container size, one consistent color, evenly spaced, small succulents in the center, something trailing at one end, something upright at the other. The arrangement changes through the season. The shelf stays permanent. Budget, $15 to $25. Idea 20, the lantern tree idea number 20. The decoration that transforms a single tree into the most striking nighttime feature in any garden in under an hour. Hang lanterns of varying sizes throughout the canopy of a garden tree. Not in a uniform pattern, not evenly spaced, hung organically, the way fruit grows, so the distribution reads as natural rather than arranged. At dusk, when they illuminate together, the tree becomes a light source. 15 or 20 small warm lights, at genuinely different heights within the canopy, create an effect most people have never seen in a domestic garden. They stop walking. They look for longer than they look at almost anything else outside, and they cannot fully explain why. Use one consistent material in varying sizes, all rattan, all metal, all glass. Variation in size at consistent material is what reads as natural. Budget, $20 to $40 for 12 to 15 solar lanterns. Idea 21, the garden sound map. Idea number 21. No digging, no building, no planting, no budget. And it changes how you experience the garden you already have. On a still morning or a quiet evening, walk through every section of your garden slowly. Stop in each corner. Listen specifically. Identify every individual sound, the movement of a particular plant, water in a feature, birds in a particular tree, insects over a flowering patch. On a rough sketch of your garden, mark every sound source you identify. The map reveals 2 things. The acoustic qualities already present that you walk past daily without consciously hearing, and the gaps, areas that are visually interesting but acoustically empty, where a wind chime, a water feature, or a rustling grass would add a dimension the space currently lacks. Every garden decision, made after a sound map, accounts for the one dimension that photographs never capture and that visitors experience most deeply. Budget, 0. Idea 22, the slow garden principle. Idea number 22, the most important one, the one that makes every other idea on this list work better. The slow garden principle. Plant one thing this week, one plant chosen with genuine thought, for your specific soil, your specific light, your specific space. Not the plant that looked best at the garden center. The plant that is right for the exact conditions where it is going. Prepare the soil properly. Plant it carefully. Then observe it daily for 2 weeks, not to intervene, to watch, to learn what it does in morning light versus afternoon, how it moves in wind, what it attracts. Then plant the next one, with the same attention. A garden built this way, one deliberate decision at a time, each informed by what came before it, develops a coherence and character that no rapid transformation produces. Because every plant belongs precisely where it was placed, put there by someone who understood that place before they filled it. The slow garden is not timid or uncertain, it is deliberate. And deliberate gardens are always eventually extraordinary ones. 22 stunning garden ideas you have genuinely never seen before. Buried bottle irrigation. painted stepping stones, glass bottle cloches, newspaper seed pots, the gabion planter, the teepee bean frame, the self-watering wicking bed, reclaimed chimney pot planters, the stumpery, the mirror pool, moonlighting through tree canopy, the woven willow edge, the terracotta tower lamp, the seed library jarred desk, the sunflower house, the Espalier apple, biochar from garden waste, clay pot ollas irrigation, the floating garden shelf, the lantern tree, the garden sound map, and the slow garden principle. Here is what I want right now. In the comments, tell me which 3 you are going to try first, not which ones you liked. Which ones you are actually going to do this week, this weekend, this season. I will read every comment and reply to everyone with a specific practical tip for making your chosen ideas work in your exact garden. Share this with one person whose garden is waiting for a reason to start. Sometimes one idea, genuinely never seen before, is all it takes. Next week, how to design your entire garden from scratch in a single afternoon. No expensive software. No professional training. Just the method professional garden designers actually use with a blank space and a client who does not yet know what they want. Subscribe, hit the bell. I will see you there. Take care. Go outside. Start with one idea today.